Dallin with the Backcountry Toolkit. Coming at you with my diet video that I promised last week in my last video. I explained there how my diet kind of messed up my hunting season this year. I didn't feel like I was able to accomplish all my goals with hunting and being outside and cycling and mountaineering, all the other activities I love to go do, which was really unfortunate. But I've taken the steps to go after it and do better. One things I've changed is I'm working out 6 days a week and doing all these other things. Before I wasn't doing that. On my diet side, I'm working with the Diet Doc of Twin Falls. Shout out to Amanda and Vanessa. They're super awesome. They've answered all my questions and been super helpful. And even when I cheat a little bit, they joke around with me and they're super fun to be around and are good people. I'd highly recommend them. Yeah, they answered all my questions about diet and what different things. And every time I asked, they were very knowledgeable and kind of new and kind of like muddy. There's a lot of muddy waters out there in the diet world. And this isn't necessarily for everyone. This is what's working for me. And I've only been on it for a few weeks and I plan to be on it for the entirety of this year and hopefully keep checking in with you guys and showing my progress. Start off here. Give you a little easy to see thing on the whiteboard here. I started January 7th with my wife, Jessica. We just had our first baby and we were just kind of wanting to be healthier. She was wanting to make sure we were eating healthy and everything, so everything was right in our home. Started on January 7th, 2020, and I weighed in at 285. I mean, that's a big number. That's the biggest I've ever been. I'm in contacts. I'm 27 years old. I'm pushing 6'5" inches. I'm really about 6'4", maybe a little bit with a little bit of hair there, pushing into that 6'4.5". Yeah, so that wasn't super awesome. When I was in college, I really weighed about 235 pounds when I was like out and being very active and didn't have to be restricted to a desk job every day like I am now. So I'm having to change a lot then. Back then I wasn't able to work out and diet and I could just get by and I was fine. So now as I'm getting older, we're gonna have to just change a couple of things to make sure I could keep putting on that same output and get back to that weight. Really, my goal weight is I'd like to get down to that. I'd actually like to get down to more of the 215, maybe 210 range and see how it affects my athletic performance and kind of go from there. But yeah, they have you use a scanner, a weight scanner, which scans your fat percentage, your muscle mass, all those things that kind of really exactly keep track. So I weigh in the same day, Tuesdays, every day in the morning at the same time. And I try to make my routine similar to make sure that the same things are happening. So like, I'm not like shooting up because I had a big breakfast and shooting up because I was a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday, just trying to keep it as exact as possible. But so I came in really high at 33% body fat and a skeletal muscle mass of 108 pounds. And really I'm a strong guy. I've never been like a weak guy. So the skeletal muscle mass, which what I was told was higher. So that didn't surprise me. So I'm carrying obviously to carry around this big frame here, I needed a lot of muscle to go with it. So I was able to get through things and through adventures and workouts and stuff like that, but I wasn't necessarily able to do it to the level I wanted and be able to achieve my goals. So this last Tuesday I weighed in because they had me on this and I dropped weight. See, I'm going for 2 pounds a week and I dropped down I did 2.5 pounds a week since it was 2 weeks in between there. So I was down to 280 pounds. I had lost 3% body fat and I actually gone up in skeletal muscle mass to 111 pounds. And I attribute this more that I'm working out consistently. Before I kind of went from nothing to 6 days a week. So that training stress load on my body has been hard to adjust to, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm making it happen and my wife's being awesome and helping me and making sure I'm holding myself accountable and going and doing it. Sometimes the workouts are kind of like recovery workouts, I call them, where they're not as high intensity and I'm just doing the movements to build some muscle, but not put as much stress on me, just so I can recover. So they have me on a macronutrient diet. And basically what a macronutrient diet is a diet that tracks your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats. So they see off that scan, they get a thing called a basal metabolic rate, which is basically your resting fat burn or caloric burn. So if I laid in bed every day, my basal metabolic rate would be how many calories I burned that day. So from that scan, we understood that my basal metabolic rate's around 2,400 calories. So to burn a pound of fat or fat off you, you need to have a caloric deficit of 3,500 calories. So to do that, you kind of want to do it, block it off in week spans. So if you want to lose 2 pounds a week over the accumulative over the week, you need to have a deficit of 7,000 calories. And that's easier to do in chunks instead of doing like having one day where you eat a lot and the next day you starve yourself. That's kind of hard and unmaintainable. That they set me up with a caloric intake of 2,000 calories and that my workout would take care of the rest. So it's kind of a fast-paced program. A lot of people say you should be down to a pound. I kind of wanted to go and see if I could do a faster pace, and I'm really not minding it. I really actually quite enjoy it. And I feel good, and I feel really good about it, and I'm not super hungry or anything like that. So tracking is every food. You can normally get nutritional facts. You can scan a barcode for these with the app that they have me use, or look up online. They want me consuming 100 grams of protein, 250 grams of carbs, and 65 grams of fat, which is great. I don't see it as I'm lacking anywhere, and I actually feel like it hits my cravings just right. Some days I can fit in like a little bit of treat here like that to get some sugar in and just kind of do that, but I really am trying to avoid processed sugars as much as I can throughout the week. I know it's near impossible, and sometimes you just need to treat yourself, but before I was going to like Dairy Queen and getting a Blizzard with a cheeseburger. That's absolutely terrible and not the way you want to do it. I think that's pretty known. Now my typical day looks more like in the morning, I wake up and I have a bread called Ezekiel bread, which is a whole wheat bread. It's all natural ingredients. It's very filling. It's kind of dry though. So I put some Land O'Lakes light butter on it, so it's not super high in fat. And I put that on it and toast it and put it in the toaster so that it's got some moisture coming down and it's easier to swallow. But it actually tastes really good. I've actually grown to love the taste, and that's actually my favorite thing in the morning. Along with that, I have an apple normally, or some those little cuties, those little orange cuties. People like to say that those things are high in sugar, but those are natural sugars, and I don't see that as a processed sugar. And sugars are carbs, carbs are sugars. It's kind of like one of those, I don't see it as that negative, because you're gonna run into sugar with everything you eat. Normally for lunch, I either have leftovers from the day before, or I either go out to eat and try to eat healthier. I'll try to go to like Chick-fil-A and get a grilled sandwich on the whole wheat with fruit on there instead of the fruit bowl side instead of fries and a water. Or the one I really like to do is I like to go to Blaze Pizza. They're awesome. Or a Mod Pizza would be similar, where you can kind of put your toppings on there, and they have a nutritional calculator online that you can make sure it's fitting in your day when you're tracking this I'll get like grilled chicken, light on the sauce, with pineapple, and maybe if I have some extra fat, I could put a little bit of bacon on there to like make it taste a little better to me. At night for dinner, my wife's been great. She found this program called Clean Simple Eats. I believe they're out of Salt Lake City, Utah, where they kind of prepare meals. You have to buy the cookbook, and they prepare meals and shopping lists for you to reach macronutrient diets. And they could actually have a system where you could hit all 3 meals and be in a macronutrient diet. And that's really cool because they'll lay out for how many servings you need to shop for, and you can just go buy their shop list and eat what they have for you for the week. So that's really cool. We only do it for dinners and some of their snack stuff. They have like a really good tasting protein ball we'll have as a snack every now and then. But like tonight we had these nachos with enchilada sauce, ground turkey, beans and corn, and it was right there. I think 2 servings of it was like 700 calories and fit perfectly in my macro, so that's really nice. It tastes good. It's really quality. We'll also have like grilled chicken at times and stuff like that. But yeah, it's working out well for me. I'm losing weight. Today's the 26th, so I actually have another weigh-in coming in on Tuesday, which according to my scale here, I'm down quite a bit. I was told that you can have a big weight jump as you're on a macronutrient diet, as your body's kind of flushing out all the bad things. So I think I've experienced that weight jump, especially where these last week or so I've been very perfect on my macros and tracking it and being very precise and not letting myself cheat. Don't mind the sign switching. We just did a quick break on that last video to come in and so I could rearrange the sign for you to show my workout plan. So my workout plan is I read a couple books and listened to tons of podcasts and kind of really thought about it actually over the last kind of couple of years of how I'd like to attack exercise because I wasn't doing well at it. The biggest influence I've had is for podcasts, it's the Trainer Road podcast, which is for cyclists. It's like the best. I'm sure there's probably not a ton of cyclists out there that are watching this. Probably most of you are hunters from my page. But if you do like to ride bikes, I think it's a great off-season workout. It teaches you great things, which I think can be played over into any endurance exercise. Also, a book I highly recommend is Training for the New Alpinism by Scott Johnson and Steve House. It's published by Patagonia. They are the frontiers, really pushing the frontier of training. Kilian Jornet's part of them, which is a very accomplished trail runner who's just smashing records all over the world and proving things that we thought were not humanly possible, of showing how to increase our workload. So I'm using a combination. Trainer Road is an online program which syncs to my bike stuff to help me track how much training stress I'm putting on my body. And I'm using their calendar to sync their workouts along with the web calendar of Training Peaks, which they have the Uphill Athlete workouts, which Uphill Athlete is Scott Johnson, Steve House's other company. They have great articles on there you can read on many things. Really, I saw there's a lot of people moving into the hunting world that are into fitness, and it's great. But I see they're mountaineers and Nordic skiers actually, Scott and Steve. And Steve is actually one of the world's most accomplished mountaineers and doing it in a alpine style from the top to bottom. Had a incredible ascent of Narga Parbat, which is one of the world's tallest peaks, showing that you can do it in a different way. That it isn't like you could do things that people didn't think were possible. And so I kind of went after them because the mountaineering's been doing it for a lot longer than we have as hunting. For a long time, we didn't really focus on fitness at all. And I'm really excited to add this new layer into my repertoire in hunting with shooting and all those kind of things. So things I do, I have my Matthews bow that I shoot in my garage. Maybe it's not the most recommended, at a block target. Every time between sets or between workouts or when I'm out of breath, to work on my form. I follow the Knock On YouTube channel's teachings on form, and to make sure I can keep my form when I'm out of breath. So that's a big thing I'm trying as well, and it also gets me reps shooting my bow, even though it's only at 10 yards, if that. I mean, it's probably about 10 yards. It's just on the other side of the camera. I keep looking at it. And so I can keep that as well. So kind of how my week looks like. Training things I'm using. I have a road bike, so as I said in my last video, I own a bike and ski shop. And so I have a BMC road bike that I've attached to a Wahoo Kicker trainer, smart trainer. And that pairs with the Trainer Road app, which gives me my training workouts. So one way how I'm going to be monitoring to make sure I'm at the exact weight is my power output. So they do a watt. So with that trainer, they have something called watts that comes off of it. So it's basically how many watts, how much power I'm putting in the trainer. And they do watts per kilo. So transferring my weight to how many watts I'm putting out, I'm at like a 1.6 watts per kilo. And my goal is to get up to that 3 watts per kilo as a big guy. So if I need to be down to 200 pounds and I'm putting out that 3 watts per kilo and I couldn't do it at 215, that's what I'm going to do. But if if I go down to 200 and I'm too light and I don't have enough muscle mass to achieve that, because I think with hunting and working in the outdoors, you need mass as well to carry weight and carry loads, I'm going to monitor that. So I do that test about every 6 to 8 weeks. Every time I do it, I'll keep you updated. My FTP on the last one was about 195, which that's your threshold of watts. So you take that divided by your how many kilos you weigh, and you get that number. So going into my week, and every Monday, so I wake up at 5 a.m. Sometimes I do in the evening. I'm really trying to keep consistent waking up at 5 a.m. So waking up early is easier during the hunting season. Just another layer I'm trying to add to myself to maximize myself. On Monday, I do my bike trainer ride from Trainer Road. So that could be anything. It's normally about an hour long. Sometimes it's a recovery ride that's about 30 minutes. But I do that to build that endurance base that I have so I can have a big aerobic motor, to say. Then Tuesday, I do a leg workout, which that's just to build more strength of just overall just muscle. And normally I try to keep that low rep. Like I'll do squats where I'm doing 6 reps at 75% of max, then 5, 4, 3, 2, all adding up in 2s at 95% of it. Just so it's built, when you do those lower reps, you're actually building strength and not adding mass from, these are things that I have learned. So I do that with a core routine, and both those workouts are provided by Uphill Athlete. This is a variation I've kind of made myself of their 16-week Big Mountain training program, which is their training program to train to go to Everest or Denali or these big alpine adventures. So where I've actually taken out the trainer or out the running deals and add my bike trainer because I feel like I get a better workout. I'm not a great runner and I'm working on it. So Wednesday, I'm back on the trainer again for about an hour. And then Thursday, it depends how I feel. I'm trying to really listen to my body. If I come into Thursday and I'm just wrecked, I'm only gonna do a core workout, okay? So I'm not gonna just overwork my legs and go into a bad state. But I will do another leg workout if I'm feeling it, or a different variation. Because like this week on Tuesday, I did squats, like I said. And then on Thursday, I did the same thing, but with deadlifts. So I try to change it so it's not repetitive. And maybe like if I'm not feeling fully on the legs, maybe I would do a power clean or something like that, where it's a full body deal, but it's not solely working my legs. Friday, I do an hour running or hiking. It's either hiking or running in the mills. I actually have an incline trainer from NordicTrack coming in. So that's gonna make that a lot easier. That's gonna be here in my garage as well. It goes up to a 40% incline, which is incredibly steep. Can really get me used to going up those deals. And as soon as I get to the point where it's getting too easy without weight, I'm gonna add a weighted backpack with sand in it to do it, and I'll be doing it in my hiking boots. Or if I'm just doing it without weight, I'll do it in running shoes and try to run as much as I can to try to build that. Again, I'm not trying to be the fastest up the mountain. I'm not trying to like get up there. I'm just trying to so I can get up the mountain multiple times at a good steady state and not be tired by the time I get there. So Saturday, I do a recovery run or walk. Because normally Saturday I like to go recreate in different ways, and maybe I'll do a light mountain bike ride, go out with the family, go out with the kid and go do something. Maybe we go for a light hike. That's kind of what that includes. And I don't really track any fitness or caloric burn on that. And on Sunday I do, because Sundays are really down days here at the Casperson household. So I do an hour and a half long bike trainer ride. So that's 30 minutes longer. And those are the really hard ones. That's the kind of like the performance. So this is all building up for that one ride to build my aerobic motor even more. So that's kind of how my week looks. Again, I have the BMC road bike, the Kicker Wahoo trainer. I have a squat rack and weights from Titan Fitness. So when I'm running and doing my fitness workouts to track the stress on my body, and you can't find like as watts mixed with your your size of this, how big you are, is a good way to measure your training stress. When I'm doing other workouts, I use my Suunto 9 watch, GPS watch with a heart rate band, and that through Training Peaks can give me another stress monitor, just monitor my stress as well. Just so that's just kind of how I'm looking at it as load of work. Not necessarily like saying I'm going to run this many miles this week, more looking like how much work I'm going to put in this week. And they monitor that through what's called a training stress score. And that's just showing, and each workout has that training stress score and it adds up. And just so I'm trying to add that training stress score a little bit by bit every week to not burn myself out, but continue to make myself stronger. So a couple things I'm training for. In March, I have a 50-mile mountain bike race called the True Grit down in St. George, Utah. And I have hunting season, obviously, and scouting. And in October, as I don't hunt a lot during the first or middle of October, I normally hunt at the end because that's normally the best for mule deer, and I'm not normally chasing elk with a rifle. I'm going out to North Carolina and doing a half Ironman with my brother-in-laws. So we're kind of having some friendly banter back and forth. So I will be incorporating more running and swimming as time goes on. So I might replace one of those leg and core workouts for a swimming workout, which is another all body, really good. It's really good for you overall. Sweet, so I hope this helps. I'm gonna keep checking in and tell you how I'm doing and what adjustments I'm making. If you have any questions about gear or anything like that, please let me know. I've worked on this system a little bit, and this is the first time I'm doing a full-blown plan with it. So I am learning as well. So if you have any comments and recommendations for me, please leave them in the bottom. Like I said, I'm willing to hear anyone else out. I'm just trying to make myself the best I can be. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please follow me on Instagram at backcountrytoolkit.com, and leave me a message and let me know.